Today, we're going to talk about using engaging posts on Facebook to drive bookings. This is an independent restaurant, Fennel, in Aberdeenshire, and they always showcase their food really beautifully by going into lots of detail about the image, aka it's never just about there being a Sunday roast, or here it's never just about the brunch. They go into lots of detail about all of the trimmings or whether it's locally sourced meat. This gets the customers following them salivating over the photos and the videos that they use and makes them much more likely to book a table. But what they've done here in this post and in a couple of the other ones is they wanted to showcase their brand new menu, and they did it over a series of posts. So rather than just saying we've got a brand new menu like a lot of businesses do, what they did was they created a series of posts. They took pictures of every single item, like here, on the menu. And then they created a series of posts over the course of a couple of days. And they talked in the initial post here about what it is. So new menu, this is their sandwiches. They tell you when it's available and they tell you what it is, but they also say more details below each pick. So if I'm hungry or I'm interested in their sandwiches, then I'm much more likely to want to go in and click in here. So this tells me exactly what it is. So I'm looking at the amazing image, and then I know that it's a triple layer grilled chicken, bacon, lettuce bound in mayo and tomato and fried egg, for example. So it goes into lots and lots of detail about the actual ingredients. Any restaurant, cafes, bar, or food-related business can do this to show off a new menu and do it really well. You're much more likely to get people engaging like this, and you're much more likely to get bookings off the back of it because you've gone to all the trouble of explaining the menu underneath the images. So let's have a look at what they actually did. So they took some stunning photos here of the meals featured on their brand new menu. There you go. They spread the new menu over a bunch of different posts. This is their sandwiches. Here's on a different day. So this was a week before. Lots of new menus. This is the new things that talks about other things. So they spread it over a number of days and a number of posts, and this generates excitement and about what the next part of the menu could be. They appealed to all the senses in each post about the meals by describing the taste, describing the smells, and the images, as we say, are just stunning. They keep the content really light and fun, and they added so much more detail of the meal to each image to keep the main post short and sweet, like this one. It just takes the sort of heat off it, if you like, and it makes it much less complicated for people to read. And they created a little bit of fear of missing out by adding in here that it was a really busy night, which makes you think that you might have to seriously book in advance next time. Now, a way to elevate this, because ultimately beautiful images alone won't be sufficient. They had to sell their menu. So by selling it, they split it into multiple posts. And if you look at it, this had 117 engagements, 28 comments. It's a lot of people, which if they just on one post wouldn't have had as much engagement. But another way to elevate this would be to add in the booking links to the post themselves, because on Facebook, you can physically add in here. So they put the prices, but if you add in the booking link, we're much more likely to want to physically look at that mac and cheese or look at the buffalo hot wings and think, wow, I need to book this Friday. So it takes the guesswork out of it for customers, and it makes them much more likely to want to book off the back of the post. So how can you do things like this? Well, obviously you can create fear of missing out to drive bookings by splitting their food over multiple posts. And then you can also, of course, create different video content and make sure that you've got lots of detail about each piece underneath the image. And you can get super descriptive when it comes to things. So really thinking about, we talk about food porn, really thinking about what people want to taste, what they want to smell, what they want to feel like. And then think about your audience and what they might respond to best. So is it going to be video? Is it going to be just a descriptive post? Now, a good way of thinking about your content and what's working well is actually to go to the Maybe platform. And here you can go into content and you can go into content calendar. And in here, you find all of your content over the last week, and you can look at what worked and what didn't. So here you've got over Facebook and Instagram, and you can look at here. So you can look to view your post. You can see the post itself, but what it also would tell me is the number of likes that I got on it and shares and comments on it as well. So if you notice that something's working better on Instagram Facebook, then you might want to share more. So say the brownies got more comments, for example, then I would want to be sharing more of those brownies, and it means that maybe sweet works better. So there's lots of different ways to look at it, and you can also choose to add a competitor here. So you can literally go up to the top and you can add in, so here that's Fennel, but you can add in any competitor, and you can see any local restaurant, for example, you can see their previous post, and you can compare your own as well. So remember, if you ever have any questions about anything that you're doing in the Maybe platform, all you have to do is click this little intercom button, and it will take you to lots of articles, and you can also ask on the live chat anything at all that you would wish to know. But ultimately here, what we're saying is that when it comes to driving bookings or sales even on Facebook or social media generally, the best way of doing it is to split it over a number of posts, create a bit of a fear of missing out, like Fennel has, and make sure that you use all the tools available, so lots of descriptions and video content as well as static posts.